and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex.
And this is it, our final episode of 2012. But settle into that couch group because we're here for a whole hour, well, 59 minutes.
Yeah, and we're gonna need it because we have a packed episode, including our first impressions of the Wii U and a couple of its launch titles, Super Mario Bros. U and Nintendo Land.
We'll also have a look at Lego Lord of the Rings, PlayStation All-Stars, and PlanetSide 2. Oh, enemy! Hex and I also look at our favourite games and moments from 2012.
And as is traditional for our very last show, we'll be handing out the coveted Good Game Game of the Year awards. And I have to say, I mean, it's usually difficult, but this year it was particularly hard with so many contenders for best game. Let's just say the discussion got heated.
Yes, I threw a few tantrums. Dave Callan and Goose also dropped by, but without further ado, let's have a look at the Wii U.
Good game.
Well, it's been a long time coming, but Nintendo finally have a high-definition console with the Wii U. So how does it stack up? We'll get to the games in a moment, but first let's talk about the hardware.
Yes, well, it's a compact design and it's backwards compatible and works with all your old Wii modes too. It doesn't have a LAN port, which I find somewhat unsettling. Heck, sometimes I just like to plug in a wire, you know?
Faster connection.
The most visually intensive game we could test with it was Batman Arkham City. And to be honest, it wasn't the next-gen graphics we were expecting. We weren't completely wowed. Having said that, it's also not completely fair to test it with a port of an older game. To be honest, Hex, I'm a bit worried about the actual physical size of this device. The PS3 was a barbecue, but at least that meant you knew that it had stuff in it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, but if Nintendo have shown us anything, it's not size that matters, but what you do with it. And it does have a multi-core CPU and SD card support for up to 32 gig.
I like that the discs are kind of smooth around the outside, though I'm not sure how much of a problem DVD disc injury was, but quite like that. The controller is interesting though. Navigating menus and streaming from a touchscreen to a TV are two things I love about modern technology, and I'm glad it's a main feature of this console.
Oh,
Protect myself by holding it above my head. I did find it a bit hard to get used to using camera control with the two sticks so far apart, so I think for core games I'd want to use that Pro controller we've seen all those pictures of.
There were some online features which we couldn't test out with our console, but now let's get to what really matters, the games. And first up is New Super Mario Bros. U. Woohoo!
In an unusual twist for Mario, Bowser actually invades Peach's castle, and then Mario and his friends are thrown far away.
From that point on, you'll slip into that familiar Mario groove of jumping on Goombas and smashing bricks. There isn't that much new here, especially if you've played the last couple of Super Mario games. There's a flying squirrel suit which lets you glide, and a couple of new modes. Boost Rush moves the level along and you have to keep up. You can also use your Miis in the challenge modes, which is kind of cool. We like the challenge modes a lot. They really test your platforming and Mario playing skills with events like jumping on enemies without hitting the ground, and our favourite, keeping Molly the Mole on a moving platform.
This game is dripping with cute, from the music to the animations. It's almost disgusting how cute this game is, and it's hard not to fall in love with the level design and beautiful backgrounds.
You can play with 5 people at once utilising the gamepad. Whoever's on the touchscreen can do simple things such as place blocks to save others or hassle them. It gets very chaotic on screen, and I found that slight pause when someone gets a power-up can be a little frustrating, especially if you're mid-flight.
Yeah, those collisions can be difficult to manage, but that's half the fun, getting the death stares from others when you've knocked them into oblivion. Up there.
Get out of here.
Stop it!
Just steals
Barjo, you're the worst to play Mario with.
It's
Okay, hang on.
all for one.
This.
I did not like the touchscreen features though, it felt completely tacked on.
Yeah, it's not that much fun being block guys, you're just there to fill in level design, really. There isn't that much else to say. I mean, it's highly polished, but nothing that made us jump out of our chair.
Yeah, and at the risk of sounding cynical, I think if you played the last couple of Mario games, you might have a few goes of this and soak in the visuals, but then you'll probably put it down. I always find it so hard to score these kind of Nintendo games, Hex, because there is all that in a nostalgia, and it is a very well-made game and polished, but it is the same thing I played over and over again, so I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I like that you can stream it directly to the Wii U's gamepad and just play in bed for a while if you want.
Or the toilets.
Ew. And I do like that it gets nice and challenging, so I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens. Now, we will check out Nintendo Land later in the show, but for now, let's cross live to the 2012 Good Game Game Awards.
Thanks. Thank you, and welcome to the 2012 Good Game Awards, here in the amazing Eugene Goosens Hall, downtown Sydney.
We're here on this night of nights to celebrate the magic of video games, but most importantly, to honor those wizards of gameplay, the men and women who work so tirelessly behind the scenes to bring our favorite worlds and game characters to life.
Yes, they bring them to life so we can blast them away.
I don't know, Barjo. I've seen your aim, and I think it's missing the letter L.
Now, before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the important Technical Achievement Awards that were awarded before the show. If you could roll the tape, please.
Congratulations to all those winners. Now, our first award of the night, the Big Claim Lame Game.
That's right, this award celebrates the game that was the year's most hyped up disappointment.
Darren, can you read the nominations, please?
Affirmative. The nominees are Resident Evil 6, Medal of Honor Warfighter, Kinect Star Wars, Fable The Journey, and Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
All games that promised so much and yet delivered so very little. Can we have the all-important envelope, please?
And the winner of Big Claim Lame Game is Hex Opens Envelope. Oh. Kinect Star Wars.
Yes, the force was not strong with this one. This was a game that was hyped up to be Kinect's killer app, teased over multiple E3s with the power of the huge Star Wars brand and the potential for awesome lightsabering moves. And yet...
Not the game we were looking for.
However, the Good Game viewers chose an alternate winner, Medal of Honor Warfighter.
Yeah, so we do agree that was a dud, but in our opinion, Kinect Star Wars squandered the most potential with horrible controls and a failure to deliver on its big promise of awesome one-to-one Jedi-ness, making it our big claim, lame game, for 2012.
We'll be right back shortly with more awards, so don't go anywhere.
I'm John Raffis from Treyarch, and on behalf of all the guys back at the studio, Merry Christmas.
Good game.
Right, now it's time to take a look at Nintendo Land.
Set up kind of like a virtual theme park, you can enter Nintendo Land solo or with friends and take part in a series of mini-games all based around classic Nintendo franchises. You start in a hub world you can run around in and access all of the games, or hop on a train and do an attraction tour of a random selection.
It's easier just to go from the much simpler game selection menu though. There are a bunch of solo games to choose from, or you can pick from team attractions for 1 to 5 players, or competitive attractions for 2 to 5. As far as party games go, this is definitely a step up from some of the horrid Wagglefest games we've seen in the previous console, and the Wii U's gamepad really does put a new spin on things. And away we go!
Yeah, the majority of the games see most people using the Wiimote while one is always on the gamepad, and their role is quite different. In Luigi's Ghost Mansion, for example, the gamepad user plays a ghost that tries to catch the other players on the small screen, while the rest of the players will be trying to escape while catching him out with the flashlight, because to them the ghost is invisible.
Yeah, so generally the gamepad user uses the screen as an advantage while playing a disadvantaged role.
I quite like sneaking up behind people, Hex, and grabbing them as the ghost.
Yeah, and the tables can turn quite quickly, so it works well.
Saving. Oh, God.
Other multiplayer games are based around favourites like Pikmin, Animal Crossing or Zelda. Most offer either a co-op mode where everyone works together, or a versus mode where the Wiimote players team up against the gamepad user. And it's quite fun swapping all the controllers around and letting everyone have a go at the different roles.
Yeah, the only thing I found a little bit frustrating was those tutorials were quite lengthy and explain every stage of what you're about to do. So you practically feel like you've done it all already by the time you even get started.
Yeah, not to mention that creepy little voiceover TV thing. Felt like it was trying to steal my soul.
Ghost trackers must try to shine light on the ghost. If the ghost's health is reduced to 0, the trackers win.
The only one that I really got into was a Donkey Kong-inspired kart level. You tilt the gamepad to control the speed of your kart, and even have to blow on the mic to lift certain platforms. It was fun and challenging and definitely a hit, and it was certainly better than this weird octopus dancing, which was a miss for sure.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You also earn coins for each game you complete, which you then use in a pachinko minigame, which wins you some fairly useless prizes, like this button which changes the time of day in your hub world. You can take the cautious approach to this minigame to save on coins, but eventually you'll get over it like we did and just go for the spam approach.
You can also earn extra coins by playing certain games that selects for you after a round.
Yeah, but I found it odd that it always encouraged you to play a single-player game after playing a multiplayer one and vice versa. I mean, if you're playing with friends, why would you suddenly get them to sit out a round while you tackled a single-player challenge?
Yeah, and if you're playing solo, it's like it's saying, hey, maybe you should go find some friends, you loser.
Yeah. There is definitely some really wonderful and at times charming design to the game though, and while there are some frustrating games, I hate any game that makes me use the gamepad like this. But there are some genuinely enjoyable ones there as well, and I can see it being a family hit or maybe on in someone's lounge room when they're having a party.
Yeah, it comes down to if you like mini games and the grating music that goes with them or not. I do like how it uses most of the features of this gamepad quite well. There are some really good ideas with that, so it does show what it can do. And I like how it captures the reaction of the person on the gamepad as you're playing too. I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
It's 6.5 from me. So is it worth getting a Wii U right now? Well, we haven't played all the launch titles such as Zombie U, which I think probably looks the most interesting, but from what we have played, I'd say probably not. Not when we have 2 other, great consoles with such a back catalogue of games and, games that look as good if not better.
Yeah, when I think back to other launches of consoles, I would get so excited because you'd see that step up in visuals and you'd be like, oh, a new console, there'd be something about it that you want, but here there isn't that. It is early days, but I just don't feel like there's anything very next-gen about this device. Also, the price point is a bit high for what you get, in my opinion.
I do like the touchscreen, and Nintendo have always been synonymous with family games, and that's something that parents can rely on. But both the PS3 and 360 have a lot more options when it comes to family games as well, with Little Big Planet karting and Rayman and Minecraft.
There's just nothing that makes me go, yes, I need to go and get a Wii U. I need a HD 3D Mario or Zelda, just something.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
But no matter what, I think 2013 will be a big year for Nintendo. Now, Goose has sent us some pretty epic postcards so far, but for his final postcard, it may just be one of the biggest.
Traditionally, worlds that exist within video games obey a number of specific rules and guidelines. However, there is one world that not only encourages you to wander off and create your own story, it literally gives you the building blocks to create anything you want within it. Behold, the Minecraft Overworld. Instantly recognizable from its iconic 16 by 16 pixel block geography, the living world of Minecraft is actually far more complex than its simple art style lets on. Each environment is rich with Cubist-style flora and fauna that show off a fully realized and believable ecosystem, which all blend seamlessly into one another, stretching off infinitely in every direction. These unique landscapes feel all the more wilder because they haven't been specifically built by a level designer, and from that there's an amazing feeling of freedom as you trek over mountains, swim across oceans, and navigate through forests. This freedom is more evident as you begin to plan out and construct some sort of shelter, as no matter what you decide to build, be it a humble wooden house on a hilltop or a colossal castle that stretches deep underground, there will always be a strong personal bond because you know you built it all block by block by block. There's an immense feeling of satisfaction as you settle in for the night by the glow of torchlight. You feel the same when carving a path directly downwards through the world. Chipping away just one block at a time is incredibly hypnotic and can easily lead to getting lost in a self-made labyrinth before suddenly breaking through to a gigantic cavernous space right below your feet. But occasionally it can get a little lonely when you're out adventuring by yourself because you'll find
Working in a coal mine going
Darren?
down. Oh, hi, Goose.
What are you doing here?
Oh, this is a public server, Goose. So I'm working on my latest creation, the DarrenBot 5000!
Whoa. Okay, Darren. Well, you've spent more hours than anyone in this game. Maybe we should team up. You could show me around.
Oh, I'd be delighted to, Goose. Come along.
Zombie.
And there you have it. Minecraft isn't just a game where you mine and craft. It's a tabula rasa, a blank slate. It holds up a mirror to your personality and lets you express yourself by shaping the very world around you. And it's evidence that we don't always need next-gen graphics, motion capture, or hours of exposition to feel a strong connection to a world.
It's definitely one of the most unique and rewarding video game locations, where even simple tasks like digging holes can lead to endless hours of immersive gameplay.
Oh, and don't forget those thrilling roller coaster rides through giant robot statues.
Darren, that's not really the point. I was going for
Here we go! Minecraft, where it's hip to be square.
Good game.
So Hex, what are the games that stood out for you this year?
Well, you know, reflecting back, I feel like we've had a really great mix of everything. RPGs, shooters, indie titles, and sequels. I feel like I've been able to dive headfirst into nearly every genre and walk away feeling amazing. We went on a click-to-loot frenzy in both Diablo 3 and Torchlight 2.
Wow, look at all that gold! Yeah, get it, loot.
Both games that really came to life once you learnt the game and got stuck into those harder difficulties.
Spin attack! Spin!
Kingdoms of Amalur had an art style I wasn't too keen on, but it was a big world that I was easily lost in, and I love the way you could mix up your combat abilities. But Dragon's Dogma, that terrifying, monster-slaying fantasy epic, I just kept coming back to this game, Barjo, and it's a big game.
I loved how you could grab everything in that game. And that whole concept of pawns, how you could train them up and then lend them out to other players.
I loved how tough this game was. And how something as simple as the setting of the sun could instill such fear, because the kinds of monsters that come out at night were beyond deadly. Now, I had a few issues, but I ended up overlooking them because they just got fantasy so right. And in saying that, I have to have a good laugh at the game that got fantasy so wrong, and that was the terrible car crash that was the Game of Thrones RPG.
Please forgive him. That is indeed what I feared, but the...
Death is still death.
I must say though, I found immense joy in the triumph of some of the smaller indie titles and mods this year. Diaspora Shattered Armistice saw me living out my Battlestar Galactica Viper Pilot dreams. I Am Alive really surprised me with true survival gameplay. And I spent an entire weekend when I was sick this winter completely obsessed with the world-turning pixelated puzzling of Fez. I also want to make special mention of Papo and Yo. Now this was made by a small indie dev team that really just wanted to create something meaningful. Unfortunately, the gameplay wasn't spectacular, but the design was unique, and they made a really bold choice with the subject matter, being based on the lead designer's troubled relationship with his abusive father. And the way this was represented through a monster with uncontrollable rage, and the way it dealt with issues of substance abuse, these were serious themes that I'd never encountered before in a video game. I mean, not like this, and what a wonderful medium to choose to tell that story. But of course, the real indie hero for me this year was Journey. Journey. this sounds a bit dorky, but I still struggle to explain just how emotionally affecting this experience was. Every moment of this game is a new discovery. When you realise you can interact with the tapestries and send yourself flying into the air.
And there was the mystery of the journey itself, where it is you're travelling to.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're travelling home. Add to that the game's stunning score, and it was the only game this year that actually made me cry, Barjo. Finally, of the much anticipated AAA titles, Mass Effect 3, Assassin's Creed 3 and Halo 4, all stunning additions to their respective franchises, proving that big budget sequels can still surprise you.
I agree, and adding to that, Hitman Absolution and Max Payne 3.
Yes, and Sleeping Dogs trumped any GTA experience for me, simply because the characters in the story were so well thought out that it made it a joy to play. But I think the real surprise for me this year had to be Spec Ops: The Line. I mean, I've never connected with a shooter the way I connected with this game. It genuinely toyed with your moral compass, questioned your judgment, and held up a mirror while asking, do you feel like a hero yet? No shooter has been bold enough to make such a profound statement, and the whole twisted journey it took us on made for such a compelling game. And, you know, it had us wishing that more shooters would take these kinds of risks. I mean, here was a shooter with a story that I actually cared about. And, you know, overall this year, I think the real triumph has been storytelling in games, because it's really evolving, and it just makes me all the more excited for what 2013 will bring.
Welcome back. It's time for what might be my favourite award of the night, Good Game's Most Memorable Gaming Moment for 2012.
A quick warning to our viewers. There are some minor spoilers in this category, but we promise to exercise caution and avoid overtly ruining anything for you.
That's right. Thank you, Darren. The nominations, please.
Meeting another player in Journey. The phosphorus mortar section of Spec Ops: The Line. The epic but ambiguous ending of Mass Effect 3. Entering New Tristram for the first time in Diablo 3. And playing as Master Chief in Halo 4.
All right, Barjo. Would you like to announce the winner?
Yeah, maybe if you hand me the award, what envelope I can. And the winner for Most Memorable Moment for 2012 is Journey. Who could forget the feeling of wonder and joy when you first encounter another player in that vast landscape, and then working out how to communicate using only simple sounds and frantic jumping, and helping each other to move closer to that mysterious mountaintop?
It certainly rates as one of my all-time gaming moments, and a very worthy winner. Congratulations to that game company and Journey.
It's been a great year for free-to-play games, and our final free-to-play gratis gaming pick for this year is PlanetSide 2.
I am coming to the Technodome.
PlanetSide 2 is an MMO FPS. You build a character, unlock weapons and perks, and fight in massive scale battles with hundreds of other people.
Whoa, they're dudes.
It's a spectacular sight.
Yes, and when you first enter the game, you're thrown in the midst of a giant battle that's already happening with real people. And you probably won't last long, but it's a good way to show you what the game can be when it's at its best. And I love drop pods, Hex. I just love them. But this game has a huge learning curve, mostly in the menus. In fact, there are a lot of user interface issues, such as tiny icons and confusing maps. But if you stick with it, things start to click, and then you can see that rich real-time strategy that begins to play out.
Yes, it is an ambitious concept. A persistent online future battle for territory. It's like a whole bunch of battlefield maps linked together with no end to the round. This means there's a lot of ebb and flow and fights, a lot of downtime, but you know, I didn't mind that, Barjo. I mean, it gives me time to regroup and prepare.
Yeah, you definitely have to play this game with friends too, and the more the better, just like any MMO really. When you have a good squad leader marking waypoints weapons, and your squad has a nice mix of classes from healers to heavies. That's where the game truly shines.
Didn't like it. Oh, I totally just jumped over a rocket!
I love the big technodrome structures, Hex, and the moonscapes. It's quite a good looking game.
Yeah, I especially love those ships. They're just really good sci-fi. The standard guns for each class are enough, but you can also buy some with real money, but they're not cheap. $25 of RL cash might only let you unlock 4 weapons, and you may not even like them. Plus, getting points to customize is a slow process as well.
Yeah, it is slow going, but I do like that you can only buy weapons with real cash, not upgrades. And the other weapons aren't necessarily better or worse, they're just strategically different. There are some good ideas at play here, you just have to dig a bit to find them, and I don't think there's a game out there quite like this. Plus, there's Aussie servers, well, there's one of them, and that's a first for any FPS MMO.
Yeah, plus the controls are solid, and it kind of reminded me of Borderlands a little bit. But what are you giving it?
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10, Hex. What about you?
It's a 7 from me.
Good game.
Also, which is better? Try these, Barjo. Let me just try that again, sorry. Barjo's back in the game. Bye-bye! The Good Game Awards are a time to celebrate all that games have given us.
They're also a time to commemorate those members of our community who left us too soon.
Massive spoiler alert.
Yes, we're going to show the characters that have died from these games.
We're going to ruin a bunch of games for you.
Yep, so just leave if you have to for a second and then come back.
Yeah.
Fair wind that brings you home to me.
We will usher in the dawn of a new world.
I would have followed you, my brother. My captain. My king.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
He was a soldier and a leader, one who made peace where he could. And it was a privilege to know him.
Metroplex heeds the call of the last blood.
Are you all right, my girl?
Come on, Chief. Take a girl for a ride.
Good evening, and ding-dong merrily on high. I'm Dave. You may remember me from such video game reviews as Soul Calibur 5, Kid Icarus, Just Dance 4, and Barbie Horse Riding Adventures HD, the Kinect experience. That's not a real game, but it should be. Well, the game I played most this year is XCOM. I loved it with the base building and the micromanagement and the alien autopsies and the little soldiers running around going pew pew pew. Plus, you get to save Perth from aliens. How many games do you get to go to Perth in? I'll tell you, one. XCOM. You get to customize a little squad of soldiers, and you become quite attached to them. So along with the depth, the strategy, and the tactics, it was easily my favorite game of this year. Ermagerd Erkskerm. 2012 was also a year of silly DLCs. Take, for example, Skyrim Hearthfire. Oh goody, I get to traipse around Tamriel, collecting stones and planks and goat horns and Lord knows what else, so I can build a house, furnish it, and adopt kids. Yeah, you know what I like about fantasy games? Firing fireballs out of my bare hands. So, Bethesda, next time, more fireballs, less boredom, please. And more silliness followed in Mists of Pandaria. Crack out the energy drinks, corn chips, and adult diapers. Warcraft's back. And the expansion pack allows you to be a panda strapped to a kite. That's called anticipating public demand and giving us what we didn't know we wanted, and getting it wrong. Speaking of Blizzard getting it wrong, you had to be online to play the single player of the much anticipated Diablo 3. No! That's like paying for a book and having to be in the library to read it. Fight! Most dramatic transformation this year in gaming was Fat Bob from Tekken 6, who lost like 60 kilos in between the release of the game and the DLC.
I'm practically skin and bones.
Well done, Fat Bob, I mean Slim Bob. Maybe tell your mate Ganryu. And worst transformation is Martial Law from Street Fighter Cross Tekken, who now looks like a strung-out redneck Bruce Lee.
Come and get some. I dare you.
This year in the Tough Love category, we had Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition, because that's what we all needed, a much more difficult version of Dark Souls. Dark Souls is like wasabi. It's great, but it'll make you cry, and people love to boast about how much of it they can handle. My most confusing game this year is Dishonored. Oh, look at me. I'm teleport jumping onto someone's roof. Now someone on stilts is trying to fire a rocket at me. Dishonored is trying to sell you too much at once. It's like the tourist shop in Bali of games. It's also one of several titles this year that's made me realize maybe I'm a little bit of an old fogey because games seem to be getting a bit too violent. I play games because I like exploring virtual worlds, but unfortunately, games keep making me commit horrendous acts of violence to continue to do so.
Perhaps we've come at a bad time.
I don't think this will ever change, though. Nobody wants to play a game called Tourist's Creed.
We ride for the Green Dragon Tavern. The proprietors are eccentric.
The end of the year means there's also lots of new titles to look forward to in 2013, but dear developers, here's some things I don't want to see. Spider boss battles, including robot spiders.
Every robot has to attack me?
Rapid button presses to open doors.
Chief, be careful!
And sewer levels. Do not want.
Fair enough.
But something I do want is more dance games. One of the biggest surprises of the year was the dance part of Star Wars Connect. Totally the only part of the game that didn't suck. Well, that's enough of my end of the year rant. Hope you get all the games you want from Santa. Now to relax with another nice round of Dark Souls.
Good game.
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale takes characters from the likes of Killzone and Uncharted and mashes it together with the likes of Parappa the Rapper and Little Big Planet, and what you get is a whole lot of biffo.
Pay for it.
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is a pretty blatant Smash Brothers knockoff, so let's just cut straight to the inevitable comparisons.
Let's.
Both games pit 4 brawlers against each other in 2D stages, with lots of power-ups dropping in, as well as hazards to avoid. The biggest difference is how matches are won. In Smash Brothers, it's all about knocking your opponent off the stage, but here, super moves are key.
Yeah, the super moves are spectacular. My favorite was Big Daddy's. Everyone else is stuck doing dog paddle while you're hulking out and smashing them.
Yes, and Heihachi's was hilarious too.
Yes, but although the supers are fun to watch, this is a big change because there's no life bars. Most fighting games are about chipping away at your opponent's health. Or in Smash Brothers, it's adding to their damage counter, and the higher their damage, the further your attacks knock them. But in this game, all you have is the super meter. Each attack adds fuel to it, but if you miss with your super, all the attacking you did for the last few minutes amounts to nothing. Essentially, all your progress is erased.
Yeah, it's pretty flawed, isn't it? I mean, I can understand the devs wanted to stamp this game with something unique, but the all-or-nothing focus on supers was a mistake. But let's talk about the combat, which I think they did a much better job at.
I think they nailed that. Kratos in particular feels right at home in this game. He can dish out stylish combos with his chained blades, casually countering some attacks and dancing around others. But what the God of War does best is get angry, so very angry.
Kratos really is the game's hero, isn't he? And Noriko from Heavenly Sword and Cole from Infamous all work really well too. But I just couldn't warm to this cast the way I did with Smash Brothers. I mean, Nintendo's characters all have this cartoony style that really lends itself to an ensemble game. But here it just feels like too many of the characters have been awkwardly shoehorned in for their marketing appeal, rather than whether or not they actually belong in a fighting game.
Not in Shambhala. Punch! Ready? Fight!
A bit of me died inside seeing Nathan Drake forced to pull barrels out of thin air and other stupidities.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Pitting Sackboy against trained killers and superheroes just feels about as frustrating as you'd expect.
Prepare to die!
Also, I feel like a lot of these characters are very B-grade, you know, they're co-stars and sidekicks, not the leads. Why Tekken's Heihachi instead of Jin or Kazuya? Why Raiden instead of Snake? Why are we getting the reboot Dante and not the original?
Last chance to walk away.
I don't want to sound too cynical, but I think it's because a lot of these characters have new games coming out next year, and so there's a bit of marketing profile raising going on.
We should wrap this up, Barjo. What did you think?
Well, I don't think it's got the accessibility of a Nintendo fighter, but it also doesn't have those deep fighting mechanics of something like Street Fighter, so it's certainly a jack of all trades. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. So I'm giving it 6 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I'm giving it 6 as well.
Merry Christmas to all of my friends, the spawnlings. Mamma mia, you guys number one. Hee hee.
Good game.
It's not every day you're invited to the iconic Opera House to put on a show, so we decided to do something really special. We've gathered some of Australia's best gamers, a stack of gaming trivia, and invited some Good Game fans along to the first Good Game Ruffle Cup Live. Now I've got the 2 team captains. Okay, Barjo, now who are your teammates?
So I've got Maud Garrett from Geek Bomb and also Mark Serrels from Kotaku.
Excellent. Now, do you have any strengths going into this?
We're just gonna wing it.
Okay, good luck to you. All right, and Hex, now who are your teammates?
Okay, so I have Job Gilroy, who's the editor of Game Arena, and I also have Jimmy Reese, who you may know as Jimmy Giggle from Giggle and Hoot, but he's also a big gamer.
Okay, and what's your strategy going into this?
Look, I'm not afraid to employ some crazy left-of-field strategies like wild, distracting dances, yet just trying to psych the other team out, basically. All bets are off.
Great, well that sounds totally fair.
Yeah, Barjo, you're going down.
Okay,
you're going down.
You are going down.
So
guys, you are going downstairs.
Guys, save it for the stage, okay?
He's going down.
You're going downstairs to the other room.
Good luck to both of you.
I have a dressing room with my name on it.
Me too.
But having a plan is useless unless you can impress the almighty adjudicator himself, Game Master Darren.
Trying hard to look like Gary Cooper, super duper.
Darren, your dressing room is massive.
Oh, I don't know. The water fountain's a little small, to be honest.
Okay, now you're the host of the Ruffle Cup. Tell us, are you going to be doing some easy questions or are they going to be quite tricky?
When I'm through with them, there'll be nothing left but ashes.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Lower. Lower. Too low.
So small. Ah! Spider! 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 Spider!
Good Game Ruffle Cup.
Get ready for two teams battling it out, gaming trivia, because we are going to compete for that Ruffle Cup, the shiny prize.
Are you ready, Hex?
You better believe I'm ready. This better be a good buzzer. Oh!
Ah.
That's when he dies. What colour are Mario's overalls?
Mario's overalls are red.
Negative!
Over to Team
I believe they're blue.
Affirmative! Name the 4 Pac-Man ghosts.
There's Blinky.
Reddy, orangey, bluey, and pinky.
He's Goose. Try and find someone who knows when Deus Ex was set.
Yes, ask that guy again. He got it wrong last time.
Run, Goose, run! Get past all the noobs!
You again. Hi, sorry, excuse me. How you going? Thank you. Hi, yes, good game shirt. 2005?
Negative! Oh. Based on the cover artwork alone, I want you to tell me what sort of game it is. Team Barjo, are you ready?
Yes.
Ready, and waiting.
Ready.
Irritating stick.
Stick. It's a Japanese game, of course.
Hurry up.
Puzzle.
Puzzle, correct!
So Barjo's team is on 32, closely followed by Hex's team on 31.5, so there's only half a point in it.
Yes, guys! Yay!
Impressive.
Right, so it's you and me. It's you and me. I'm going to stand up.
You stand up. It's just you guessing what I'm doing. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Just.
Stretching. He's rowing. He's trying to fit inside.
Forward to answer it.
I think it's Killzone, but it's not. It's not
Barjo,
Killzone.
you got it! Oh, Barjo! Oh, thank you! Now the final point tally. Team Barjo has 48 points.
Okay.
And Team Hex has 50 points. Team Hex wins! They're 1-11.
What did you think of the show?
I thought it was really great.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It was awesome. It was hilarious.
It was really good. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Heaps of fun, he was so glad I was out here. So.
Well, guys, that's the end of the Ruffle Cup. Team Hex is victorious. Hex, how does it feel?
It feels pretty good, I'll be honest. It was touch and go for a while there. I think we sort of struggled with the music questions. Not great with those, but then we rose up and we had great audience answers as well, which we're very grateful for.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Barjo, what went wrong?
Everything went wrong. No, look, it was pretty close, but the defeat does taste bitter.
Well, okay, better luck next time, possibly. Well, there you go, guys. That's the end of the Ruffle Cup.
And now we've reached that point where we wish to celebrate this year's Best Quiet Achiever, a great game from a small or independent studio or an underdog with minimal marketing push that managed to rise above those odds to steal the limelight.
Darren, the nominees, if you please.
Affirmative. The nominees are Fez, War of the Roses, FTL Faster Than Light, Hotline Miami, Mark of the Ninja, DayZ, Torchlight 2, and Legend of Grimrock.
And our award for this year's Quiet Achiever goes to DayZ.
Yes, it's hard to deny that DayZ, a simple zombie mod for the game Arma 2, made one of the biggest splashes this year, from such humble beginnings.
And what fantastic fun we had in that game, Badge, roaming the open countryside, dodging those speedy zombies, scrounging for supplies and surviving the horrors of nightfall, and running in fear from other players.
DayZ was also the Good Game viewers' top pick. Huge congratulations to DayZ's creator, Dean Hall.
Here's to the zombie apocalypse.
All right, Barjo, your turn now. What were your picks for 2012?
Hex, you know, just like you, some of my favourite games this year have been small, downloadable games. And in fact, I think this has been the best year ever. There was Mark of the Ninja, Near Umbra, Hotline Miami, Thomas Was Alone, Legend of Grimrock, just to name a few. But one I thought that was particularly special was Faster Than Light. On the surface, it was such a simple-looking game, but below its simple graphics, it was rich in strategy. But the stress and the fear and the chaos that came out when things went wrong. Open all the airlocks! It definitely nailed that one more go vibe. And then there was War of the Roses. Such medieval shenanigans, Hex. I still play this game almost every day.
Your days are over.
I'm not even playing to unlock stuff anymore, Hex. It's just to plow through nervous arches and do my patented victory bow.
I beg you, mercy.
Stop it! Don't.
But the biggest and brightest of the smallest for me was definitely DayZ. I can hear the zombies.
There are so many.
This game pushed on emotions that we had never felt before in a game. Never before, Hex, have I hurt my friends for simply a can of baked beans. But I needed them. I needed to eat. So many unforgettable moments and events that I don't think will ever be replaced.
Oh, tears and laughter, Barjo. I'll never forget that moment we finally found each other after hours of me crawling through the grass and we were rolling for joy.
Yeah, I see you! I see you, Seth!
Except the guy we
Oh my god!
Oh my god! This is the most exciting moment for me. I've been so alone for so long. I just don't want to be alone anymore.
Come to us!
Then all of a sudden it was silenced by some unknown bandit and I had to start all over again.
Oh, who's that? Who's that? That's not what I've asked. Hex, I was first to take all your gear.
I also took your baked beans.
I remember.
Hey, this guy's got a nice gun.
And a big tip of my hat to the modder who fixed the PC version of Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition and made it run at 60 frames per second and unlocked all the resolutions. And it's just beautiful.
I knew it. I knew you wouldn't be able to get through this segment without mentioning Dark Souls.
I think it's the record though. It's a couple of weeks, no Dark Souls talk.
All right, go on then.
If it could be my game of the year again, it would be, Hex.
Really?
Yes. In fact, I think it can be, because it did come out this year on PC, and it did come out with extra content, and no game is as important to me as Souls is. And there's something about replaying it, you know, the most important thing you can take into a Souls game is experience. And now I'm beating bosses that might have taken me 30 goes in one try now. No longer is the game beating me down into a messy pulp of sadness and remorse. Now I'm beating the game, and I'm the master of Souls.
All right, well, moving on from Souls.
Okay, well, it's also been a very interesting year for MMOs. World of Warcraft is finally taking its last breath, and the Secret World shook things up with unforgettable questing and a moody atmosphere rich in detail and ideas.
The questing was so interesting, wasn't it? Especially all that augmented reality stuff.
Yeah, and all the backflips.
Do a backflip over me, Hex.
Whoa.
Right,
Down.
Hang on.
And 1, 2, 3.
And then there was Star Wars The Old Republic, a game which undoubtedly had its issues and was super easy, but for a Star Wars fan, it was a dream come true. I enjoyed every moment of that game, shocking my way through the universe.
Teach me to ever trust a Sith. They all lie through their teeth.
But then there was Guild Wars 2, which I think it's definitely my favorite MMO of all time, but I think it is the most beautiful game that I have ever played. And the more I played, the more it opened up with unique settings and monsters, evolving PvP strategy, and some of the biggest and most social fights I've ever experienced in a video game.
You know, I might go back to Guild Wars 2 over the break, Barjo. Call of the Wolf! Call of the Wolf! Oh!
And Nolan North's Urge to Kill Rising.
Urge to Kill Rising.
Urge to Kill Rising. Eat my dust. Eat my dust. Eat my dust. Refreshing.
I'd also like to give a shout out to the DLC for Battlefield 3. I know it's just more maps, but what maps? Giant rolling tank battles, AC-130s, and maps that just feel like Battlefield.
Oh, this is not gonna go well. This is not gonna happen.
Oh, jeez.
He makes it regardless!
But most importantly, developer DICE have done an incredible job tweaking and balancing this game to make it just play better all around, and I think it's the finest FPS that's out there. There's one more game that's very special to me, Hex. Transformers Fall of Cybertron.
You got the touch!
Oh, not only was it full of fan service at every turn, but it was just a well-made game about heroes fighting for what they believe in. And that giant space battle at the end, and and Metroplex. Oh, Metroplex, you brave, brave fool. Thank you.
You know, I didn't think I would enjoy Transformers as much as I did, but it ticked all the right boxes, didn't it?
Absolutely. And if I may, end with a bit of poetry.
Okay.
Now, Dear Esther may have been the most boring game that I've ever played, but it did inspire us to create Dear Battlefield.
The utterance of the tale was telling of a twist in fate and a fold in my leg pants that I thought I'd ironed out weeks prior. My mind is an intersection of a bypass of twisting, folding,
Well, this is it, Hex, the last review for 2012. And what better way to see the year out than Lord of the Rings, Lego style?
Yes, here all three of Peter Jackson's films have been given the Lego treatment, and I think we all know the gist of them by now. Use multiple characters to solve a series of fairly simple puzzles, and one-button combat to smash your way through hordes of baddies.
And there's lots of collectibles and studs to pick up along the way.
And much like in this year's Lego Batman 2, the famously mute minifigs have broken their vow of silence.
Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee! Have you been eavesdropping?
I ain't been dropping no eaves, sir, honest. Oh!
Yes, I like they've just taken the audio straight from the films. I mean, it would be a bit pointless to get the actors in to revoice exactly the same thing, and plus that music just adds so much to this game. It's so nice hearing it again.
They've done a really great job of adapting the crucial scenes from the film and then Legoizing them with their trademark wacky humour.
Yeah, there's some great cutscenes in there, and I love how they're almost shot for shot from the film.
And they've stepped up the gameplay too, with some exciting boss fights, chase scenes, and some more interesting puzzle design, like when you're hiding from the Nazguls.
I did think some of the humour went a bit overboard at times. I mean, Lord of the Rings has some very dark themes, so it makes sense they want to wacky up a lot of it so it's an all-inclusive family game, but Boromir's death scene is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a bit silly. I admit the purist in me died a little when that chicken laid an egg.
Actually, I quite like that bit.
But what I really liked was how they've managed to make the entire map of Middle-earth into the hub world. It's seriously epic. It's like Skyrim Lego. And of course, there's plenty to do and find out in the open world, and even side quests to pick up.
For your trouble, I'll let you in on a secret to help you seek out other quests.
Although we should point out that the portable versions of this game don't have that open world.
Visually, it is a good-looking game. They seem to make these LEGO games a bit better looking with each incarnation. Although I have noticed that they're pulling back on the blockiness of the actual world itself now, so there's less LEGO with every single one of these games. I'm not sure how I feel about that, Hex, but it's certainly impressive, especially in the big fights.
Yeah, and I still love that adaptive split screen. It's so much fun to play with a friend sitting next to you. But how is there still no online?
We want it.
But we should wrap this up though, Barjo. What did you think?
I think they need to take the next step with combat for these games. It needs to get more complicated and interesting because it is still so simple, and that always makes me stop playing these games eventually. Still, this is a very polished game, and I love the open world. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, you know me, Barjo, I've been on Frodo's journey many times before, but this is a great way to revisit it. And I just love how these games maintain playability for gamers both young and old. You know, I had a smile on my face all the way through this. And I think this is easily one of the best LEGO games yet, so I'm giving it 9.
Well, I know we've had to get through quite a long show tonight.
I'm sure Kojima sat through longer cutscenes.
But you'll be pleased to know we have finally reached the most important part of the ceremony.
Yes, it's time to award our most precious accolade, Good Game's Best Game for 2012.
More than ever before, this was a tough call.
Yes, it's been much tougher to separate the gems this year. We've had to really hold each one up to the light to see which sparkles the most. So, Darren, without further ado, the nominations, please.
The nominees are Guild Wars 2, DayZ, Borderlands 2, Halo 4, Mass Effect 3, XCOM Enemy Unknown, and Journey.
Okay, envelope please, Darren. And the winner of Good Game's Best Game for 2012 is...
Mass Effect 3.
I wanted to read it.
Sadly, BioWare couldn't be here tonight, but we'll accept this award on their behalf. Mass Effect 3 delivered a sprawling sci-fi adventure with so many spectacular moments. It was so brilliant that we awarded it double 10s, complete with double 10 dancers.
And even if you weren't a fan of the ending, at the end of the day, Mass Effect 3 is an impressive game in every respect and on every platform too.
You get a new scar every time I see you. Losing a step there in your old age?
Raise your hand if you haven't been killed before.
Touché.
The combat is deep in strategy, the music wonderfully spacey and atmospheric, the grand visuals are drool-worthy, and the co-op multiplayer was just icing on the cake. And of course, who could forget your creepy shepherd, Barjo?
Congratulations to the team at BioWare for creating one of the most incredible sci-fi experiences. You've got it in the palm of your hand, thank you.
And...
That's it. Show's over. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Good game. That's so cute. Well, that's it, our very last episode for 2012. And guys, what a great year it's been.
It has been an awesome year, and next year will be awesome too. And we're back in February on ABC2.
And on ABC3 for Spawn Point.
Yes, and the best thing about February is we get all the games that didn't make it in time for Christmas.
Ah, yes, Aliens, Colonial Marines,
Bioshock Infinite,
Tomb Raider, please come and get me.
To name but a few.
Before we go, we must thank everyone who's let us interview them over the year, and also the industry in general who've been so supportive of the show. So thank you.
Yes, we also want to say thanks to everyone at the ABC who's worked with us, and most importantly, to you, the gamers of Australia, for watching us and posting and tweeting and coming to see us in person at the various events we've been to.
So, well, I guess until next year, Barjo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.
Goose out.
Darren, did you whip up these little cakerinos here?
They look so good.
Oh, Goose, would you like to...
I feel like Goose, you should have the first one, maybe.
Yeah, sure,
have that one.
But I...
Dig in!
Got all your limbs?
Oh, no.
All right.
I licked that one.
Okay.
Roll tape! Takes a different path for the franchise. Is this good?
Just the way some of the big... Cut it and then like... Sorry? What a great year we've had.
Has it been? Indeed it has. And next...
What a year we've had, guys.
Indeed, it has been a year. And next year we will...
Can everyone just pause for a second while Barjo puts moisturiser on his arms?
Now, before we begin... Damn. Smash it. Good luck. Good luck with it.
He raised him from an egg.
Oh! This isn't even on. I'm Stavro. Sorry, guys.
You guys are on next.
Picking up, we're doing it again.
Duh. Duh.
Pardon? You got the ability to roast.
Plus, Goose has been looking into the